Believe we are live, so it's devlog time. I want to stay loyal to the Wednesday devlog schedule, so here we go. We have made very little visual progress. Uh, the game interface itself, we've done some design work in Figma, and we have a few maybe code related things I can show today. Uh, I believe you might be hearing the bird sound, so let's see. I don't think it's loud enough, but let me know after the fact if it's too loud, and maybe I'll adjust in the next streams. Let's see. We've been implementing a new inventory screen. We're in the middle of keeping the old programming logic with the new interface, so there are still a few boo-boos. But we have the sorting working to a certain extent, so these two are fine. Everything is listing planting plus equipment for the moment. The edibles and finished items are new. They are not doing anything yet, but if you get a blank list, maybe we should put a user-friendly message. Either way, everything will take you back to displaying everything, which is the combination of all these things. We have the icons missing here. I will actually show you this interface in great detail, Figma. So in the end, the Godot implementation will be based on this view. So this is the new inventory screen, and this is the old one. So major changes. If you were following dev streams um, earlier this week and last week, I was basically saying that we need to combine these three item types, which is a seedling, seed, and stackable items. They may happen to be the same structure. Let's say super Italian paste tomato variety. So you could be talking about the seedling of that tomato kind, seed or the finished tomato. So this was taking too much space for the same three sort of different item types. Now, each one will have more or less the same button, like the number of buttons, but with different functionality. So this new menu is, or this new inventory screen is combining those three types into one. So you get to see the name, the icon, and 13 seedlings of this tomato type, 912 seeds, and 13 kilograms of finish. Now, if you click one of these rows, you are going to be presented with possible actions. So you could be planting it, shopping for more of that seed or seedling. Um, since we are seeing this add to compost action here, I'm guessing this might be either the finished product or the seedling, because I don't think composting seeds makes sense. Either way, these buttons will be context dependent. And if this displayed item is piece of equipment, this information will change to maybe volume information. So you get to see, or like quantity information with some volume information. So we are deciding that. So the item description, what it is going to be displayed when you click this Farmipedia icon, which is something that the tutorial man Dave was actually talking about, and that's the part that you also did not see, or you haven't seen yet, which is part of this dialogue. But again, maybe you were following the other long streams. So last week, at the end of our devlog, I mentioned that the tutorial logic up until this point orders was done. So Dave, the tutorial guy, is now giving you more instructions about how to manage your inventory. At that point, the new inventory screen was not designed, so this is going to be replaced with the new one. But his instructions are basically telling you that you need to pick a plant, whichever one you wish to plant, and that there is going to be a plant button, and in this case, it's going to be our new icon here, and that Basically, you will be presented with available spots in the garden, which is basically week one. When you plant it, you are basically in the normal game logic, and in the tutorial, we'll actually have some soil ready for the player. Um, because we are in the middle of transition, we don't have the soils exposed, so I should actually put soil here so that you could see the leek planting or the tomato planting action. But going back to the tutorial logic, we want the player to be able to select a seedling from their inventory and pick an available spot. At that point, you are now an urban farmer. I will most likely change this and actually now. Congratulations, you are now an urban farmer, something like that. So when that is all done, um, this is concluding the user interface mechanics, where things are, how we access them, the most basic stuff. Dave has more instructions for you. Now, um, you know how to plant things, but you may not know how to take care of your plants. So Dave's instructions is going to walk you through how you uh, use these buttons to keep uh, the required ratios in check, so that you have plants getting enough water, sunlight. They are actually exposed to wind, it's cold or not. Like there are a lot of factors that go into the calculation of these uh, conditions. Acidity is one of them. uh, and the most basic thing, of course, as soon as you plant something, people water it. So here's two types of watering, and you'll be instructed with the watering mechanics. Sunlight is another important topic. He's going to talk about that. You basically say yes, you understand how the most basic gardening topics will work for you or not. And it would be quite a long task to follow instructions for every single action here and a combination. So we are presenting a way to access more information. There's going to be context specific information and Farmipedia. The context specific one, you might have already seen that some of these panels have the formation icon or the button on the top right corner. Maybe this one is actually misplaced. This shouldn't be here, but in other screens, especially this one, there will be an information. And when you click that, you are going to be presented with possible actions that you can conduct here. And if you need a higher level knowledge base, then this Farmipedia icon, this is not the final place, but somewhere accessible, that you get to read about why some plants like certain type of nutrition at a certain point in their development, and why like having high nitrogen is good early on, but maybe not so much when they are supposed to give fruit, that kind of thing, so that you could have a much more informed like the player could get actually information so that they can adjust these values properly in an informed way. So that might conclude the tutorial, and of course this hasn't been play tested, but for now it's good enough for us to get started, and we'll start implementing the tutorial screens and the logic, so that we could get going with the scenarios goal, which is growing 50 kilos of tomatoes. So uh, it may sound ambitious, but our goal from now on, I mean, the ambitious part, that what I'm going to say won't happen most likely over the course of 1 week. But next week, I would like to present more finished garden layout, staying loyal to what Dave was saying, that he actually has Dave's first instructions here. When he was talking about he has a few things left in the garden that he's asking you to harvest, and a few that things that he asks you to compost. Uh, we would like to that started. So we need a proper garden layout and a few things planted so that we don't start the game with an empty set. So we'll be looking at a more finished garden. So that's the goal for next week. So we could actually start following this structure here. And of course, at the end of this, uh, we'll be on our road. We'll be on the road to growing 50 kilograms of tomatoes, and that number may be too high. We'll adjust it. So again, play testing. So that concludes the visual parts. Other than that, there's some stuff that may not make much sense because these things are kind of like a test topic at this point, that we are fussing with nutrition values and how plants absorb stuff from soil. So we have soil structure. Uh, so basically, where do you keep the nutrition data? So it's part of soil, and of course, those properties have to be accessed by plants. And soil is also when you have a big plot here, we are trying to distribute the nutrition sort of in a volumetric way. Because it's one thing to assign nutrition value to plants, but essentially the soil is one reservoir, and all the plants are sharing all that nutrition pool. So we are trying to uh, we want to create interaction between different plants all together and individually, and their interaction with the soil, so that uh, one of our plants is companion planting, so that if two plants, if they are in the same unit, they may benefit from each other's properties, because one is going to provide nitrogen to the soil, the other one will want to suck more nitrogen. So there is going to be some kind of one-way or two-way interaction. So we are trying to figure those things out. So there's some code work that we've done, which isn't too structured or fun to show at this point. Um, so the way our uh, dev streams go, I usually take care of the visual stuff, but we have a developer. He's taking care of this stuff. Once this gets to a certain point that it's more presentable, maybe one of our devlogs will be about development. Maybe less of visual stuff, but we are in the we are on our way to transition from more visual to more coding. So I think that concludes this week's progress. And other than that, we've done some graphic work that will update our Steam page. But that's really it. So I just want to give a quick update, and that concludes this week's devlog. So see you on the next one.